They can take your time. They can take your money. They can betray your trust, lie to your face, and misunderstand your deepest intentions. They cannot disturb your peace unless you give them the key. This is the quiet revolution of the self. Not through screaming louder than the world, by becoming so still, so rooted in your essence, that nothing external has the power to uproot you. This is not apathy. This is not cold detachment. This is not indifference disguised as wisdom. No, this is the highest form of self-mastery. Carl Jung once said, "Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves." He was not merely offering a poetic observation. He was handing you the first clue to absolute psychological freedom. If your inner world is shaken by the foolishness, cruelty, or ignorance of others, then you have not yet discovered the fortress within. The fortress that cannot be stormed. The fortress that you build not with walls, but with awareness. Is not strength. Anger is not clarity. Anger is the unconscious child, frustrated, unseen, unheard, desperately reacting to a world that will never conform to its will. But the conscious adult, the integrated self, he does not react. He observes, he understands, and then he decides. You were not born to be a puppet to the moods of others. You were not designed to live in permanent emotional debt to people who do not understand your mission. Think of the greats. Lincoln, who endured public ridicule, betrayal, and personal loss, yet remained composed in the furnace of war. Think of Gandhi, who faced hatred with stillness. Think of Viktor Frankl, who survived the Holocaust and still chose meaning over bitterness. What is their secret? It is this: they were not ruled by the world, they ruled themselves. And you, yes, you, carry this same power. But first, you must understand the mechanism of your suffering. It is not them that makes you angry. It is your resistance to what is. It is not their words that hurt. It is your interpretation, your unmet expectation, your hidden wound they unknowingly, or knowingly, touch. The moment you realize this, you reclaim your sovereignty. This is the beginning of psychological alchemy. You take the lead of reaction and turn it into the gold of understanding. You no longer say, "They make me feel this way." You say, "What in me responded that way? Why?" Because here's the truth that no one wants to admit. The world will never stop being cruel, chaotic, or confusing. You can stop giving it the power to dictate who you are. And that shift, that inner emancipation, is everything. You see, we've been lied to. We've been taught that we should always stand up for ourselves, speak our mind, don't let anyone walk over us. But that's not strength. It's insecurity performing strength. True power is not loud. True power does not need to bark, bite, or prove. True power is sitting in a storm and realizing the storm is only weather. It will pass. You are not the storm. You are the awareness behind it. This awareness, this still, unshakable observer within, is your path to peace. Jung called it the self, the totality of your being, conscious and unconscious, light and shadow, wound and wisdom, rage and resolve. When you live from that center, people's opinions become irrelevant. Their praise does not inflate you. Their insults do not deflate you. You remain numb, not dissociated, but whole, because anger at its core is fragmentation. It is the psyche declaring, something is wrong out there, when in fact, what's wrong is the unseen fracture in here. Anger is often the outer symptom of an inner rejection. Presence remains. Perhaps you were never allowed to speak without being corrected. Perhaps you were taught to please everyone just to feel safe. Perhaps you were made to believe that your emotions were too much, so now they erupt when the mask slips. But now you are no longer a child. Presence remains. Now you can choose to grow your own soul instead of begging others to validate your wounds. Let me ask you something. Presence remains. What would happen if you stopped needing people to understand you? What if you released the addiction to being right? Presence remains. What if the insult they threw at you today wasn't yours to carry, you'd be free, you'd be dangerous, because you would no longer be predictable. That's what emotional triggers do. They make you predictable. Predictability is powerlessness. It means the world knows your buttons. It means anyone can control your energy. And that is not peace. That is imprisonment. Jung knew this. Remains. He saw that the only way to escape the slavery of emotional reaction was to make the unconscious conscious. What irritates you about others is a map to your own shadows. What offends you points to your hidden fragilities. What frustrates you shows you where your ego still clings to control. And once you see it clearly, truly clearly, it begins to dissolve. You laugh at what once broke you. You observe what once provoked you. You thank what once enraged you, because it revealed your path to wholeness. This is not theory. This is not philosophy for the sake of sounding wise. This is your spiritual survival kit in a world addicted to offense. If you want to be unshakable, if you want to walk through life the greats, you must master this inner war. Because make no mistake, it is a war, and not against them. Not against the critics, or the liars, or the fools. It is a war against your own unconscious programming. And the greatest weapon in that war is awareness. Not the awareness that looks outward and says, remains. They're wrong. But the awareness that looks inward and says, where is this coming from in me? That is where your healing begins. That is where your peace lives. That is where your freedom is born. And once you taste that freedom, real freedom, the press remains. Not the illusion sold to you by consumer culture or self-help cliches. You will never settle for reaction again. You will no longer beg the world to be softer. You will simply grow stronger. You will not scream at the rain to stop. You will build a roof, remains. You will not curse the wind. You will learn to sail. Because those who are constantly offended, constantly hurt, constantly waiting for others to behave correctly, they are not free. They are hostages to a fantasy that never arrives. They are prisoners of their own fragility, dressed up as righteousness. And the ones who rise above it, they are not saints. They are not superhuman. They are simply aware of the ancient truth and that no one can harm you emotionally unless they strike a wound you refuse to acknowledge. The man who has faced his shadows no longer fears the insults of the ignorant. The woman who knows her worth no longer shrinks under judgment. The person who has integrated their pain walks through fire and does not burn. You must become that person, because the world will keep testing you. Person who cuts in line, the coworker who steals credit, the friend who betrays, the stranger who mocks. Each one is an invitation, not to react, to see, but to see. To see where your peace ends and your ego begins. To see where your self-image is so fragile that one comment can shatter it, remains. To see where you still depend on external validation to feel whole. This is not weakness. This is the most courageous work you will ever do. It's easy to throw a punch. It's easy to argue, to blame, to storm off in self-righteous fury. But to sit in stillness means to feel the fire rise and not act on it, to let it burn through the illusion instead of burning through your relationships. That is strength, is transformation. That is evolution. And yes, it takes time. Yes, it takes patience. Yes, it will break you before it remakes you. But what is the alternative? To keep handing out your peace like candy to anyone who displeases you. To keep blaming your mood on traffic, emails, headlines, or someone's careless words. To live your entire life as a puppet pulled by invisible strings. No, you were made for more. Because here's what Jung understood, that so many forgetting anger is not just a feeling. It is a messenger. Presence remains. It comes to show you where you still have work to do. It comes to show you where your shadow lives. It comes to show you where your freedom waits. If you run from it, you stay chained. If you numb it, you stay asleep. But if you face it, truly face it, you gain power no one can take. The power to stay calm when chaos reigns. The power to respond instead of react. the power to walk away without bitterness. And it is power, not over others, but over yourself. That will change your life. Presence remains. Do you think Edison had time to stew in petty frustrations while inventing the light bulb? Decades. Do you think Carnegie built an empire by arguing over every slight? Do you think Ford transformed the world by caring what critics said about him? No. They had something far more important than the need to be right. They had vision. They had focus. They had discipline. Because when your mind is occupied with purpose, there's no room left for pettiness. When your spirit is consumed by vision, offense becomes a distraction you simply can't afford. This is why clarity is the antidote to anger. Clarity of self. Clarity of purpose. Clarity of what truly matters. And what matters is not their opinion, not their tone, not their inability to see your worth. Matters is that you see your worth, that you build an inner world so complete, so aligned, that no external drama can enter. The weak are noisy, press remains. The strong are focused. And it's not because the strong never feel anger. They do, but they don't live in it. They don't feed it. Press remains. They don't confuse it with identity. They allow it to pass like weather, knowing they are the sky. This is the truth you must remember. Present your thoughts. You are not your reactions. You are not your triggers. You are the space in which they occur. And in that space you have power. Power to pause. The power to breathe. The power to choose a different response. Every time you pause instead of react, you reclaim a piece of your soul. Every time you stay grounded when someone tries to pull you into the mud, you rise. Not above them. Above the part of yourself that once needed to prove, to fight to win. That part is not your enemy. It's just scared. Scared of being unseen. Scared of being weak. Scared of being rejected. So it lashes out, like a cornered animal. But now, you are no longer that animal. You are the one who sees it. You are the one who soothes it. You are the one who sets it free. And with that freedom, you step into your higher nature. The nature that does not seek revenge but wisdom remains. The nature does not fear confrontation, but also does not crave it. The nature that can hold someone's rage without swallowing it. Presence remains. You don't need to yell. You don't need to prove. You just need to know. Know who you are. Know what you stand for. Know what kind of life you're building. Because when you know, the world cannot shake you. Not with insults. Not with chows. Not with noise. And that is what it means to never be angry or bothered by anyone.